Red Glass by Laura Rousseau, Chapter 13, Section 2. I was so excited about the Olympia, I woke up before anyone else. At the sink outside, I splashed water on my face. The air was a magical shade of purple. I watched the sky, the shadows, the shapes of things slowly gathering light, little by little gaining color, losing their blue. Soon, Abuelita emerged in a dress and apron, followed by Dika in her pink quilted robe. Dika plodded over and kissed my cheek. Pablo trailed behind her, rubbing his eyes, looking around dazed. After trips to the outhouse and cistern, we gathered inside. Abuelita set up a small table with a white cloth and a clay pot with 3 feet and triangular holes in the side, filled with pieces of wood. She lit it and blew, fanning the flames, making smoke rise up and fill the room. Light snoring came from behind the sheet curtain where Mr. Lorenzo and Angel slept. Abuelita arranged the chairs around the table. Pablo seemed to know what she was doing and helped her set things up. From a cabinet in the corner of the room, he took out a small tin that he carried carefully with both hands. He sat down, and Dika and I followed his lead. Abuelita settled into her chair by the clay dish. The fire had gone out now, leaving hot, glowing coals. She opened the tin and took out a bag of what looked like little amber and white stones. "What's that?" I whispered to Pablo. "Copal. It smells good. It comes from inside a tree." Abuelita picked out pieces and set them on the table in front of her. For a long time, she chanted and prayed in Mixteco. I didn't understand her words, only the hypnotizing rhythms, rising and falling, wave after wave of words. I found myself watching things in the room, taking in their essences, the smoke, the hot coals, Dika, Abuelita. Abuelita motioned for Pablo to sit down beside her. She moved a piece of copal over his legs, arms, stomach, chest, neck, head. Then she dropped the copal onto the coals and watched the pattern of the smoke. It swirled up, curving this way and that around the room. She spoke to Pablito in Spanish. "Look at those rays of light." Sunlight was shining through the smoke, making the air look solid. "Your mama and papa are with us in that light. Do you feel the sun on your face, Pablito?" He nodded. "That is your mother kissing you." His pink birthmark did look like the soft imprint of lips. Abuelita continued, "It is your father touching your cheek." The light shone right in his eyes now, but he didn't blink. A smile spread over his face, a big natural smile with neat white rows of teeth and 2 lopsided dimples. There was a small light around his thin body, a strength I'd never noticed. A hint of who he was before, maybe, who he would become. I saw not just Pablo, the 6-year-old boy, but Pablo, the baby, the man, even the old man, all at once. I looked at my hands folded in my lap and saw a child's hands shaping Play-Doh and a woman's hands touching her lover's waist and a mother's hand stroking a baby's head and an old lady's hands veined and wrinkled and calm. Dika took Pablo's place in the chair. Abuelita moved the copal over her, which took a while since there was so much body to cover. We watched the smoke snaking upward in spirals. You get headaches sometimes, comadre, don't you? Dika nodded. Abuelita held Dika's head between her hands, buried her fingers under the gray roots, and squeezed. Then she shook out her hands as though they were wet. That light you see through the glass, comadre. That light is with you always. Remember this when your head aches. She took Dika's arm, the one with the 3 scars. She squeezed it hard, then shook her hand out, and again and again. Now these scars are light. Dika nodded. It was my turn now. I sat in the chair, and Abuelita moved the copal over me. Oh, Sophie, mija, you are accustomed to hiding things. Don't keep everything inside for no one to see. Take a breath and let them flow into the light. I took a breath and blew out. And another. Abuelita massaged my head, my shoulders, my neck, loosening up what was inside. She took off my sweater. I wore only a tank top underneath. Breathe, she said, massaging my arms. Look at all this. Do you feel this? I did. Things were flying out of my mouth and drifting around the room like dandelion puffs. The smell of rain, colored sawdust, ribbons of music, tiny white sparks, silky moss and curled petals and lime zest. I felt lighter and lighter, as though I could float right up with them all.